So a few years ago, I went back to school to do my MBA. It was a fantastic experience, but a very expensive experience. But on my very first day, my very first class, I learned a lesson that would change my life. And I'd like to share that lesson with you today. The lesson was called Doing the Pig. And I look around the room and I see some confused faces. I see some smiles. I see some awkward smirks, which is making me a little bit uncomfortable, to be honest. But that's really the whole point. We all see the pig differently. We all come from different worlds. We have different perspectives. The lesson here was essentially to examine the pig from different people's perspectives. For many of us, the pig is a farm animal. But for a farmer, the pig is a source of income. For many of us, pig is bacon. It's delicious bacon. For many others, the pig is a forbidden animal that they're not going to consume given their religious observance. For some, it's just a filthy animal. For my kids, it's Peppa Pig, something that they love. And the list goes on and on. We all have different perspectives. We all have different perceptions. So if you ask me, what's the future of philanthropy? I say it's diversity. And I say it's diversity for two reasons. Reason number one, the changing face of Canada. Reason number two, cultural baggage. Let me explain. We are arguably one of the most multicultural countries on the planet. 20% of the population today is foreign-born. That's 1 in 5 of us. 300,000 new immigrants coming to this country every single year. Just to put that into perspective, that's 1 million new Canadians every 4 years. And that doesn't even mention the influx of international students, foreign temporary workers, refugees. Immigration is essentially an unstoppable trend. We're an aging population, we don't have enough babies, and therefore immigration is a growth strategy for this country. And as these immigrants come to this country, they bring with them 3 types of baggage. They bring with them their physical baggage, or their suitcases and their belongings. They bring with them their emotional baggage, which is their relationships that they left back home, but also the hopes and dreams for the new country. But then they also bring with them cultural baggage, which is really the crux of this talk today. And cultural baggage is not meant to be a derogatory term in any way. Cultural baggage is essentially our perceptions and frame of reference that we're bringing to Canada from other parts of the world. Cultural baggage is all around us. But the thing about cultural baggage and culture in general, it's like an iceberg. There's certain things that we see on the top. We see food, we see music, we see dance, we see clothing, but then there's what lies beneath the surface is what goes unnoticed. Our values, our beliefs. And failure to recognize these values, beliefs, and really just to understand the way people see things, it can lead to disaster. Now, no political agenda here whatsoever, so I'm not even going to provide commentary on what had happened. But you all remember that this became about a fashion show versus about Canada-India business relations. And that's the problem with cultural baggage and the nuances. We all see the world differently. We all have different perceptions. We need to take the time to understand that. So if you ask me, so what? Okay, Bobby, great points, great slide on Trudeau. So what? What's the point? The point is this. There is no one-size-fits-all model in a country that is multi-faith, multi-gender, multi-age, multi-tenure, multi-indigenous, multicultural. We all see the world differently. We need to acknowledge that. That's what's going to drive change in this country. And the opportunity for your sector is really engaging a whole new crop of donors, volunteers, people that want to give but haven't found a cause or a charity that they can relate to. Remember, 300,000 new immigrants coming to this country every single year. Many of them may have never even heard of you. That's real opportunity for you. And keep in mind, what you're going to donate to or give to might be different from what I'm going to give to. And the way I'm going to give, and how I'm going to give, and when I'm going to give, and why I'm going to give, that can differ as well. You know, for some, leaving a legacy might be making a massive donation to a community hospital and having their name plastered on the wing of the building. But for others, it might be about sending money back home to the village they came from to provide electricity and education for those that represent who they are. You know, we talk about giving back to the community. And for some of us, we may give to the communities we reside in. But for others, the community means something much more broader. And the way they define community varies. It could be based on their faith. It could be based on their sexual orientation. It could be their gender identity. It could be age. And keep in mind that 99.9% of immigrants have come to this country for their families. And the biggest investment that they have made is in their children. So what are you doing to engage them on that level? And now if we don't make the changes, if you're not going to present me with something that I can relate to, well, maybe I'll just start my own cause. Maybe I'll just start my own charity. Maybe I'll start a food bank that recognizes that there's different dietary needs given different cultural and religious groups. Maybe I'll start a new ice hockey league that caters to immigrants that have never even been on ice skates before. Or maybe I'll start a new kids helpline that caters to the unique challenges of my children. And when we look at the future of generosity, it's not just about dollars and cents. It's not just about giving and receiving funds. It's about giving our time. It's about taking the time to understand one another, breaking down barriers, having difficult conversations, really making an effort to understand one another. That's really what the opportunity is. And most importantly, it's not just about diversity, it's also about inclusion as well. Again, we're in one of the most multicultural countries in the world, and diversity is truly our strength. It's a natural resource. And if we're not tapping into it, then what's the point? Your diverse talent in your organizations and your communities are your insights, your inroads into this cultural baggage. And having understanding of this cultural baggage is going to lead you to prosperity and new growth. So, in closing, I'd like to say that if the face of Canada is changing, let's all take the time to really understand one another, knock down those barriers, get to know each other, and understand that there is no one-size-fits-all model if the future of generosity is diversity. Thank you.